Good evening, everyone. We begin the readout tonight with Texas Democrats taking a major stand for voting rights. For the second time this year, the Democratic House members walked out of the Capitol and left the state in protest of Republicans' draconian efforts to pass voter suppression laws during their legislative suppression session. The Texas Democrats plan to spend their time here in the Capitol, the nation's capital instead, pushing for federal voting legislation to protect voters. It is a dramatic yet effective move that the National Democratic Party would do well to try and pay attention to, seeing as they only have a few more weeks until the Senate goes on a month-long recess, taking what could be America's last chance to salvage free and fair elections with them. In a statement, the Texas House Democrats said, quote, "We are living on borrowed time in Texas. We need Congress to act now to pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act to protect Texans and all Americans from the Trump Republicans' nationwide war on democracy." The lawmakers risk being arrested. Absent lawmakers can be legally compelled to return to the state capitol. To that end, the Texas Republican speaker said, quote, "The Texas House will use every available resource under the Texas Constitution to secure a quorum." Democrats are protesting two bills, one in the House and one in the Senate. They include a ban on drive-through voting and 24-hour voting, new ID requirements for mail-in ballots, a ban on distributing unsolicited mail-in ballot applications, and a limit on voter assistance that could make it harder for voters with disabilities to vote. The Democrats' walkout in May was successful in killing a provision that would limit Sunday voting, a day when many black congregations encourage members to take their souls to the polls after church. Both bills advanced through committee on Sunday after 24 hours of testimony and debate, with many Texans waiting hours to testify.
Texas has a long and ugly and racist history of voter suppression that continues to silence the many votes and voices of everyday Texans.
SB 1 continues to be nothing but an attack on Texans' voting rights under the guise of preserving election integrity. Nothing but a way to silence the black, brown, and young voices that showed up to vote in record numbers last fall.
The way this reads is voter suppression because it does not accommodate for my disability.
As Texas House Democratic Chair Chris Turner aptly said, "You just can't make this up." Republicans are passing anti-voter legislation overnight to prohibit Texans from casting a ballot overnight. And while Republicans claim they're fighting for so-called election integrity, the author of the bill admitted during this weekend's hearing that he didn't know of any voter fraud that happened in 2020.
I know that we heard testimony that there was difficulty getting election workers and poll watchers, but I don't know about evidence of fraud. That's a pretty recent election.
Joining me now is former HUD Secretary Julian Castro, who is now an MSNBC political analyst, and Texas Democratic State Representative John Boosie III, who joins me by phone. And I first want to welcome you to the MSNBC family. I still want to call you Secretary Castro.
Great to be with you, Joy.
Thank you for being here. Let's talk about this. I mean, in 2020, you saw the highest voter turnout, I think, in nearly 30 years in Texas.
Yeah,
so it was
amazing.
A successful election.
Absolutely.
So what do you ascribe this zeal on the part of Republicans to make it harder to vote to?
Well, they see that Texas is changing. It's the fear of the future, the demographic change that all of us have heard about over the years, the fact that in 2018 they lost 12 state house seats, 2 state senate seats, 2 congressional seats. They see what's happening in big counties like Harris County. They're afraid, especially of black and brown communities, voting at record levels, and they want to engage in this voter suppression point shaving system, whether it's banning drive-through voting or 24-hour voting or other ways to expand the franchise. And they're carrying out the big lie of Donald Trump.
Yeah. And Representative Boosie, you would all have to stay out. It's more than 50 of you. I think 51 got on planes and headed out. Another 7 are left in other ways. I know that you are driving out of Texas. Y'all would have to stay out for about 30 days throughout the whole special session in order to deny a quorum. Is that the plan? Is the plan to stay out of the state for 30 days?
It absolutely is. We're committed to being gone as long as it takes. That's, in fact, why I drove. We wanted my family to come with me, which I think shows the commitment that we're making. We're going to be in D.C. We're going to be putting pressure on Congress to act, and we need them to act. It's not just Texas. It's happening all over the South, and it's time for the Congress to pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
And can you confirm that one of the reasons that you all are not going to, for instance, West Virginia or Arizona, where you could, in theory, put a lot of pressure in person on these senators, even though they're in Washington right now, concerns about the governors there, Republican governors, forcing you all back to Texas?
That's been a part of our conversations. We are concerned that would happen. You know, there's a concerted effort to promote Donald Trump's big lie and pass legislation. And these states we're seeing it happen all over here. So you never know what they'll do next when it comes to any means necessary to bring us back to pass these bills that will hurt access to the ballot box.
And let me play Texas Governor Abbott. This is him explaining why he would like to see drive-through voting banned.
With regard to the drive-through voting, listen, this violates the fundamentals of what the way that voting integrity has always been achieved, and that is the sanctity of the ballot box. If you do drive-through voting, you're going to have people in the car with you, and it could be somebody from your employer or somebody else who may have some coercive effect on the way that you would cast your ballot.
Have you ever heard of anything like that? Somebody being in the car to do what? I mean, well, actually, let me ask Representative Boosie and then Julian Castro.
No, of course not. They're making up excuses. We saw in testimony over the weekend that Harris County, more women chose to use drive-through voting. This is an attack on women. It's an attack on black and brown communities. And they're trying to make access to the ballot box harder so they can hold on to the power that they have. And that's exactly what Secretary Castro was talking about.
You worked as HUD secretary, so you dealt with a lot of urban communities, you know, places like Harris County that is huge, has Houston in it. They're talking about putting one ballot drop box there.
Oh, yes, absolutely ridiculous. One drop box for a county that has, 4 or 5 million people, and you might have a county that has 10,000. Yeah. And, you know, one drop box each. What they're trying to do is to make it as hard as possible for especially black and brown communities and also people with disabilities, for instance, many senior citizens as well, to vote. And I think that, Governor Abbott also is worried about his potential primary challenge. Sure. He has two challengers. All of a sudden, he is Donald Trump incarnate. Yeah. And he's carrying out this big lie. Unfortunately, we have fortunately, I should say, we have legislators who are willing to use every tool in the toolbox. And I hope that that's going to inspire some of the folks here in D.C.